What if I told you the single greatest advantage you can have in life isn't charm? It isn't intelligence, and it isn't even courage. It's something much quieter, much more powerful emotional control. The master strategist Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that in a world driven by impulse and emotion, the person who stays calm holds all the power. The one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't react, who reveals nothing, is the one everyone eventually looks to for direction. Think about it. Most people are creatures of emotion. They act out of pride, anger, fear, or greed. They make decisions just to feel important, to be seen, to protect their fragile egos. But the person who masters detachment, who can feel every emotion but show nothing, becomes untouchable. That control, cold, deliberate, invisible, is the hidden advantage that separates rulers from followers, winners from the rest. Machiavelli would say the world belongs not to the strongest, but to the most composed. The man who controls himself controls others, because everyone else is just reacting to the chaos around them. Look around you. The loudest person in the room is almost never the most powerful one. The truly powerful individual is the one who watches, measures, and waits. They always leave with what they want. To develop this trait, you have to become a master of stillness. You must learn to pause before you speak, to listen far more than you respond, and to observe everything before you make a single move. Every time you choose silence over an impulsive reaction, you are sharpening your edge. You're building an aura of control that other people can sense, but they can't quite figure it out. And soon, they begin to fear disappointing you, even when you haven't said a word. This isn't about being weak or passive. Emotional control is the ultimate form of dominance, disguised as peace. It's the ability to stand in the middle of a hurricane and remain completely unmoved. When everyone else is panicking, you're the one thinking. When others are getting offended, you're analyzing the situation. When they're busy arguing, you're planning your next 5 moves. That profound calmness gives you a power that shouting and posturing could never match. Machiavelli taught rulers to never show too much emotion. Why? Because emotions reveal your weaknesses. Anger shows you can be provoked. Desire shows you can be tempted. Fear shows you can be broken. But the person who shows nothing but quiet, unshakable confidence creates uncertainty in others. And that uncertainty breeds a deep sense of respect. To develop this hidden trait, you must learn to detach your emotions from your identity. Stop letting how you feel dictate how you act. You can feel everything, the anger, the joy, the frustration, but act on nothing until it serves your greater purpose. The crowd always seeks instant gratification, immediate relief from pressure. But the strategist, the true leader, seeks long-term victory. That fundamental difference is your unfair edge. People who lack control chase every conflict. They get into arguments just to prove they're right, to feel a momentary sense of worth. They rush to defend their pride at the slightest provocation. But you will learn to use time as your greatest weapon. You will wait. You will let others reveal their cards, their insecurities, their plans. Every person exposes their weakness when they talk too much. You will simply listen, remember, and strike only when it truly matters. That's how kings win wars without ever fighting a battle. This skill emotional control gives you incredible leverage in every single area of your life. In your career, in your relationships, in business, in leadership. The person who stays calm is the one who ultimately makes the decisions. The one who loses control gets controlled. That is the hard, cold truth that Machiavelli never bothered to sugarcoat. So you have a choice to make. Do you want to constantly express yourself, or do you want to rule yourself? Because in the game of power, you cannot do both. When someone insults you, let them. Their noise only exposes their own insecurity. When someone disrespects you, don't rush to prove your strength. Let your silence unsettle them. People expect a reaction, they feed on it. When you deny them that reaction, they feel powerless. That is the very essence of control. You don't fight fire with fire. You let it burn itself out while you remain the calm eye of the storm. And then, when you finally decide to act, when you choose to speak, to move, to respond, you do it with surgical precision. One move, no emotion, just consequence. The world will quickly understand that you don't act out of anger, but out of principle. That is how true respect is built. That is how a reputation for being formidable is earned. The hidden trait Machiavelli spoke of, this cold, silent composure, is rare precisely because it demands immense discipline. It means saying nothing when your ego is screaming at you to speak. It means walking away when your pride is demanding revenge. It means smiling calmly when you've already decided exactly how you're going to win. The weak think power comes from loud dominance. The wise know it comes from quiet restraint. You cannot control the world around you until you first learn to control your own reactions. That is Machiavelli's timeless secret. He wrote about it not as a philosophical idea, but as a tool for survival. Because the person who controls their emotions controls their destiny. The one who doesn't ends up serving those who do. So, from this day forward, learn to hold your silence when others shout. Learn to wait when others rush in. Learn to act with purpose when others are frozen by chaos. The calm mind sees what the chaos hides. And that vision, that stillness, is your ultimate unfair edge. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on mastering your mind and your life. I'll see you in the next one. You stop reacting to the world, and the world starts reacting to you. This is the hidden trait that gives you an unfair advantage because everyone else is driven by impulse. They're controlled by their moods, their need for approval, their fears, and their envy. But you become the one who watches. You let them burn themselves out while you stay perfectly still, and when the moment is right, you strike with precision. Machiavelli understood this truth. People reveal everything when they lose control. Their anger, their panic, their arrogance, all of it exposes the weak points you can use. That's why the calm person is so terrifying. They give nothing away. You don't know if they're plotting, forgiving, or just waiting. Their stillness forces others to fill the silence with their own mistakes. To everyone else, emotional control looks like a mystery, but to you it becomes a strategy. The less you show, the more they imagine. And what they imagine will always be more intimidating than reality. This is how rulers build power, not through constant action, but by mastering perception. People think control means suppressing your feelings. It doesn't. It means directing them. It means you decide where your energy goes. You feel anger, but you channel it into precision. You feel pain, but you turn it into clarity. You feel fear, but you transmute it into focus. Every emotion becomes fuel. Nothing is wasted. This is the hidden alchemy of the powerful. Machiavelli would tell you, the one who masters himself becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability is the highest form of strength. When people cannot anticipate your moves, they cannot manipulate you. They have to respect you because they don't know what you'll do next, and that uncertainty keeps them in line. You must become calm in every situation. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much about the outcome to lose it to emotion. The world belongs to those who stay composed while everyone else is falling apart. Leaders, conquerors, strategists, they all understand this fundamental principle. The crowd shouts, the ruler listens. The crowd reacts, the ruler plans, the crowd burns out. The ruler endures. People will constantly try to provoke you. They'll test your patience, your pride, your boundaries. The weak always want to drag the strong down into their chaos. Don't let them. Every time you react, you hand them your power. Every time you remain calm, you remind them who truly holds it. That's why Machiavelli said it's better to appear cold and calculated than emotional and kind. The emotional person can be predicted and controlled. The calm person cannot. The world often mistakes calmness for weakness, but they don't understand that stillness is the sharpest weapon. It's what allows you to see clearly when others are blinded by their feelings. When everyone is shouting, your silence cuts deeper than any word. When everyone is chasing, your patience wins the race. Look throughout history. Every great ruler, every powerful mind, every strategic genius, they all shared this hidden trait. Julius Caesar, Napoleon, Marcus Aurelius. They acted from reason, not from impulse. They spoke less, but when they did, their words carried immense weight. Their control made their power unquestionable. Emotional control is not natural. It must be built, brick by brick, test by test. You train it every single time you choose not to react. When someone insults you and you stay silent. When chaos erupts around you and you stay composed. When temptation whispers in your ear and you stay focused on your goal. Each time you do that, your grip on yourself tightens. You begin to command your inner kingdom. And when you can rule within, you begin to rule without. Machiavelli's great secret is that power doesn't start on the outside, it starts on the inside. The man who cannot command himself can command no one. The one who is a slave to his emotions will always kneel before those who control theirs. That's why this hidden trait is so potent. Because once you master it, no one can use your emotions against you. No insult, no betrayal, no manipulation can touch you. You become untouchable, invisible to the petty games of ordinary men. When you possess this kind of control, you don't have to chase respect. It comes to you naturally. People begin to sense that you see more than you say. They start to tread carefully around you because your silence feels heavier than all their noise. You're not angry. You're not loud. You're simply certain. And that certainty is what the world fears most. Emotional control is the invisible crown, seen by no one but felt by everyone in your presence. It's what separates a ruler from a follower, a strategist from a victim, a master from a slave. And once you wear it, you never take it off, because without it, you are just another piece on the board. With it, you become the player. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more insights on mastering your world. See you in the next one. The moment you decide to master yourself, the world begins to bend differently around you. People can sense it, even without a single word being spoken. They notice how you no longer flinch at insults, how your gaze doesn't dart around in fear, how your voice remains steady even when others raise theirs. They feel something they can't quite name: control. And that control unsettles them, because it's a stark reminder of what they lack. Machiavelli would say this hidden trait doesn't just give you an edge. It creates an invisible hierarchy wherever you go. Those who can't rule themselves are destined to be ruled by those who can. The hard truth is, everyone wants power, but very few are willing to embrace the discipline it requires. Everyone craves respect, but few can practice restraint. They want influence, but they can't endure the silence needed to cultivate it. This is why most people fail before they even start. They mistake noise for strength. But the truly strong person knows that real power moves quietly. It doesn't need to prove itself. A storm doesn't announce its thunder, it simply arrives. When you possess this kind of inner control, you stop fighting battles that don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop needing to be understood. You begin to value your peace far more than your pride. And that quiet transformation is what truly terrifies people. They can't manipulate someone who doesn't seek their validation. They can't offend someone who doesn't crave their approval. They can't control someone who already controls himself. Machiavelli knew that perception is everything. The person who appears unshaken, even when chaos is erupting all around them, becomes larger than life in the eyes of others. People project their own fears and fantasies onto them. They imagine this person knows more, sees more, plans more. And in their imagination, they build that person's power for them. This is how leaders rule before they even speak. They let others believe what they want, all while remaining perfectly still. There will always be moments when life tempts you to break that control, when you're betrayed, when opportunities slip away, when you feel underestimated or disrespected. These are the moments that separate the rulers from the ruled. The weak react to the world as it is. The strong reshape it. When you hold your emotions in your grasp, you can bend any situation to your favor. Remember this: emotion makes you predictable. And the one who can predict you can control you. That's why anger is so dangerous, not because it burns others, but because it exposes you. Every burst of rage, every desperate reaction, gives your enemies a clear map of your weaknesses. But when you stay calm, when you remain unreadable, they are left walking in the dark while you see everything. This is why Machiavelli taught that a leader must sometimes appear emotionless, even stern. Not because being cold is a sign of strength, but because composure is. A calm face commands respect and even a little fear, while a trembling one invites attack. In a world driven by impulse, the person who waits becomes the person who wins. The unfair advantage you gain from this trait isn't just about how others see you, it's about how you begin to see yourself. You realize you are no longer a slave to your moods, your fears, or your doubts. You feel an inner stillness that can't be broken, no matter what happens on the outside. That's the point where you become truly powerful, not because you seek to destroy, but because nothing can destroy your center. From that stillness, your power grows. You begin to move with intent. Every decision becomes deliberate. Every word becomes measured. You no longer waste energy trying to prove yourself. You simply exist as a force that doesn't need to be explained. And that's when the world starts treating you differently, not because you changed your clothes or your job, but because your very presence now carries weight. Machiavelli would remind you that the world is not fair. The loud, the emotional, the impulsive, they burn brightly, but their flame is brief. It's the calm and the calculating who endure. They watch empires rise and fall. They wait for their moment, and when it comes, they take everything without a single warning. That is the real game of power. It's not about noise, it's about timing. So, train yourself to stay calm when others panic, to pause when others rush, to think when others scream. Your calmness will make people uncomfortable because they expect chaos and you give them silence. But in that silence lies your dominance. It's the silence of a mind that cannot be shaken. You don't win by being the loudest. You win by being the last one standing. That is the essence of this hidden trait, endurance through control. When you master it, you'll no longer fear what others think or do. You'll no longer beg for fairness or seek pity. You'll simply move precise, patient, and unstoppable. That's when you stop playing their game and start creating your own. That's when you stop following the rules and start becoming the one who writes them. And that's when you finally seize the power that has always been yours, the power to rule yourself completely. Because in the end, as Machiavelli knew, the one who rules himself rules the world. Thank you for watching. If this message resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on mastering your inner world. Until next time, stay in control.